Oscar, the first episode of the Offload in the brand new studio.
Mate, how good does it look?
How good is
You're my best
this?
mate in there behind you as well.
Shout out Michael Cheekham, friend of the show. Big professional set, big professional boys.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Penrith Panthers. Cleary's done his shoulder.
He has.
Doesn't seem that bad. He's going to avoid surgery.
Yep.
What does that mean for Penrith?
Yeah, they're going to try and rehab him in time for finals, which is something that the Penrith Strength and Conditioning team have had some practice with over the last few years. Jerome Luai last year carried a shoulder injury into the final series, and they got him back in time to start in the prelim and the grand final. He didn't play the full 80, but he was well enough to be there. And the year before that, Dylan Edwards, I think from memory, had some foot injuries as well. So, yeah, it's not new territory for the Panthers. They've had a blessed run with injuries over the last 4 years.
It certainly helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, they have. I mean, not blessed having to deal with an injury like this now, but the fact is they haven't missed a big name in a grand final over the last 4 years, and it sounds like they'll be able to get Cleary through for the big dance again, providing they can get there this time around. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next month. Obviously, Cleary's absence hurts the Panthers' attack. But they're not the most efficient attacking team in the competition. They win with possession and field position, which Cleary's boot is really important for. But they've shown enough throughout the origin period this year, I think, with Jerome Luai as the primary playmaker. I think there's enough there to believe that they'll be there or thereabouts with the attack. It's in defence that's going to be the really big question over the next 4 weeks. The Panthers have conceded, I think it's 56% of their tries down that right edge this year. They're missing Cleary. They're missing Liam Martin at the moment. And Sunia Taruva watched from the sidelines last week also. Isaac Tungo's the only familiar face on that right edge for Penrith at the moment. And he's had a tough year defensively. His numbers are reading fine, but he's getting caught out a lot as recently as last week, Ryan Papenhuyzen stripped him from the scrum for Grant Anderson's try. So I'm really interested to see what Ivan Cleary does over the next month, what adjustments Penrith might make to that right edge around Tungo, because they've shown, and we know defence wins premierships, but that area in Penrith's defensive line is leaking more points than any other area has across the last 4 years for the Penrith Panthers.
They've got the Raiders this weekend.
Yep.
They're down in Canberra. The Raiders are $3.20. Penrith are still $1.35. The bookies aren't worried about Cleary's injury. I don't think I am either, honestly. They've played majority of the year without him.
Yep.
Penrith 13 plus, $2.20. I mean, I feel like I'm going to take it on.
Yeah, I think you could make a case for either in this game. There's probably some value in the Raiders line if you think they can get a response after being completely shut out last week by the Cows. And yeah, that left edge, whether it's Ethan Strange or Seb Chris, Xavier Savage has spent some time on that wing as well. Yeah, if you're looking for a try scorer, for a milky try scorer in NRL around 25, it might be down that Raiders left edge.
Could curdle very quickly as well.
It could.
Enough milk chat. Let's have a talk about the Storm and the Dolphins this weekend. Obviously, the Finns couldn't get it done in Bundaberg.
They couldn't.
Storm were very good against Penrith, I thought.
Yeah, very good. I mean, it might have been a game that Cleary won single-handedly for the Panthers, as he's done since coming back from injury a month ago, but he wasn't on the field to finish the game. Melbourne superb in all the little things as they've done all year. One little tweak that I noticed last week through Will Warbrick, batting back kicks in good ball is not a new action.
It's one of your favourite actions.
Rugby league,
some would say.
We spoke about it a lot in the Origin series. Queensland have had a habit of doing it. Xavier Coates is a wonderful proponent of catching and then passing as he falls. Will Warbrick did something a little different for Eli Katoa's try last week. He got up really high, turned so that he was actually facing his own goal line, and kind of had his hands together and almost created like a backboard. Didn't try and catch the ball, didn't try and bat at the ball. He just literally put his hands up. The ball bounced off his hands and dropped straight to the ground into the space that he'd created with his jump. And who was waiting there? Katoa was standing pretty much right at his feet. He looked like he was in a position to catch him if he didn't come down with the ball. So I'm interested to see what happens over the next few weeks. Melbourne have traditionally been ahead of the curve in, introducing these little trick shots and trick plays, particularly in the lead up to finals. I think it's an action we're going to see more from some of our taller wingers over the next few weeks.
Do you think that has something to do with the amount of Aussie rules the Melbourne boys watch down there?
Could be.
They're getting inspired by the only thing on TV there.
You're talking to the wrong bloke. I don't know what they do over in that code. But, I mean, it makes sense. There's less risk of the ball taking a strange angle if you're not trying to catch it. If you're literally just providing a platform for it to hit and then deflect down towards another teammate, I think it's potentially a very positive look. So I'm expecting we'll see that maybe from another few rival clubs over the next few weeks.
The Melbourne Storm, $1.16 to win that game.
Yeah.
Dolphins are massive, $5.40. The line is 15.5. I'm assuming you're sitting on Melbourne's side of the fence there. 30 plus $1.73.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of those big lines. I mean, we've seen teams, even the Dolphins, they're falling away late in games, but you just never know what happens in rugby league. You get those fluky little tries in the last few minutes that might kill a line bet. I'd just be looking at those spaces around Will Warbrick, so Nick Meaney and Eli Katoa this weekend for Melbourne Storm.
One of the more fascinating games this weekend, the Dragons versus the Sharks.
Yeah.
I'm personally not quite sold on the Sharks here. I think the Dragons could get the upset.
There's value in them.
What are you seeing here against these two teams?
Yeah, I've picked the Dragons as my leg for the multi this week. I gave them the 4.5 head start. They've been a win-loss team almost all year. They win one, they lose one, they win two, they lose two. I think it speaks volumes to the work that Shane Flanagan's putting in this year, introducing a lot of new things to their defence and their attack. I think we're seeing a better version of the Dragons now than we did at the start of the season. They've figured out some really nice things along their left edge through Luciano Leilua, who arrived late. He missed the preseason. He's probably come in a little bit underdone. I think he's found his match fitness now. Christian Tuipulotu doing some really good things on that edge as well. So, yeah, I like the Dragons here. The Sharks might have Trindle back this week. They've been playing pretty much without a recognised halfback for the last few weeks and getting the job done through the middle. But I think I like the Dragons in the grind against the Sharkies pack here.
St George Illawarra Dragons at home, $2.35.
Yeah, don't hate it.
$1.60. I think that's incredible value. And then the last game you wanted to talk about is the Manly and the West Tigers this weekend.
Yeah, rewinding us all the way back to Thursday night. Just really quickly on the Manly Seagulls, they're sitting 6th, I think, at the moment.
But it's a good 6.
It's a good 6.
I think they look better than 6.
You sound like Timsy.
Yeah. Leave me out of it.
I think I spoke about Lachlan Croker last week on the podcast, the dummy half for the Seagulls. He's the least heralded player in a spine with Daly Cherry Evans, Luke Brooks and Tom Trbojevic. Those guys often command a lot of the highlight reels, but what Croker does from behind the ruck, even if he's only got the ball in his hands for half a second, his ability to hold up markers, manipulate A and B defenders and fold the defence in towards the ball creates a lot of space on the edges. Manly have made 16 line breaks in the last 2 weeks since Croker returned. I don't think that's a coincidence. They're getting a lot more space on the edges because of what he's doing around the ruck. Manly have played 11 games this year with that first choice spine of Croker, Ches, Turbo and Brooks. From 11 games, they've got 7 wins and 1 draw. And then 3 losses. One of those was against Penrith or Melbourne. So their record when their first choice spine is on the field is bloody good. I think their ceiling is up there with some of the highest in the competition. Whether or not they can play to that consistently of finals is probably the challenge for Manly. But yeah, I like what they're doing with finals a few weeks away.
Very nice. West Tigers, $4.60 to win that. Manly, $1.20. The line here is once again 15.5.
Yeah, give me that.
I've thrown together a little bit of a multi while we were talking. I've taken Penrith, Storm, and Manly all 13 plus this weekend. I'm getting $6.66. I don't mind that at all. Just quietly
cheer on a couple of cricket scores this weekend.
The blow it.
Could be a chance.
Big cricketing boy. So, look, Oscar, great chat once again. Looking forward to more chats in this
how good.
Beautiful new studio.
Hopefully, a few winners to go with it as well.
Shout out to Michael Cheekham.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.